cleaning up after the riots. Led by their mayor, Londoners vowing they will move beyond these 3 ugly nights of violence. And Wall Street's mojo, well, it's back a little, at least for the moment. U.S. stocks bouncing back as investors look forward to today's Fed meeting. For the next 60 minutes, you look at the world and the news through the prism. Illuminating perspectives, searching for similarities. From CNN Center, I'm Jim Clancy. Hello and welcome. Britain's Prime Minister David Cameron says there are going to be 16,000 police out on the streets of London Tuesday night, and they will restore calm. The morning after a third straight night of violence left the British capital in flames, Mr. Cameron met with firefighters. He thanked them for putting out some of those blazes. Police report at least 1 person has now been killed in the unrest. And unrest it was, young people rampaging through London and other cities, setting buildings and cars on fire. Some of them today, in the cold light of day, remain gutted. Hundreds of young people are under arrest. This video from the rioting appears to show a young man. He was injured, his nose is bleeding, the blood is down on the ground. But now look. Another man comes up, even while he's staggered standing there, starts going through his backpack to see what he can steal. The victim, this looks like a 12, 13-year-old boy being mugged by the people feigning to help him. Mr. Cameron is calling lawmakers back from recess for a special parliamentary session on Thursday. He says the rioters are going to be suffering the consequences.
I am determined, the government is determined, that justice will be done and these people will see the consequences of their actions. And I have this very clear message to those people who are responsible for this wrongdoing and criminality. You will feel the full force of the law. And if you are old enough to commit these crimes, you are old enough to face the punishments.
That last reference there, in Birmingham, police said some of the people they arrested were shockingly young. 13-year-olds out there involved in all of this. The rioting now, of course, has spread to half a dozen cities within the UK in the past 24 hours. Besides London, there have been riots reported in Leeds, Liverpool, Nottingham, Birmingham, and Bristol. Let's zoom into London, show you how widespread the rioting has been across the metropolitan area. Tottenham in the north is where it all started. That was Saturday night. Started out peacefully enough, and then it turned violent. Let's zoom into the most famous parts of London to give you a reference point. Parliament and the London Eye. Now, that's not where the rioting is, but rather in these boroughs in all corners of London, from Ealing in the west to Woolwich in the east. All of them have seen one level or another of violence. Our viewers are telling me, our viewers from London are telling me now that they are afraid of the situation. They say right now, this hour, shops are shuttering themselves. They are bracing for another night. The violence began after police fatally shot a man. That was last week. Some say it's been making, things have been in the making, the problems that have been festering for longer than that. Let's get more now from Atika Schubert. She's in Ealing in West London right now. And Atika, as you look at all of this, what is the mood right now? Are people confident? They've got those extra officers out there, 16,000 of them. Do they think they can bring it under control?
Well, people are very apprehensive about what's going to happen tonight. Are we going to get a 4th consecutive night of rioting? All the shops here, the cleanup has started, and a lot of the shop owners say they just want to get out of here before night falls because everyone is frightened that it could happen again. There are more police on the street. 16,000 are supposed to be deployed, but frankly, a lot of locals here have lost confidence in police because they just feel that they were outnumbered by these packs of teenagers. In the words of one woman we interviewed today, she described them as basically feral animals looking for prey as they're going along the streets, setting things on fire and damaging shops.
All right, you know, Atika, there's that apprehension, and we hear it from our viewers about what happens next. But right now, they've arrested so many people. I understand that they're having to move them to other areas. They've filled all of the cells in London proper.
That's right. I mean, this is really unprecedented in many ways. They've now arrested more than 500 people. They've run out of jail space, frankly, for all these people. And they're going to try and speed up the legal processing so they can start charging people and sentencing people as soon as possible. I mean, the feeling is that we spoke to one business owner earlier who said that basically his feeling is a lot of the teenagers that are doing this, they don't feel like there are any consequences. They aren't being punished for that. And a lot of people aren't getting caught. They're looting TVs, trainers, clothes, whatever it is they want, and they're not getting caught. And there's this feeling that they can basically do what they want and take the law into their own hands. And this is what a lot of Londoners are really fearing, and they want the police to take charge. They're just not sure how it can be done if the rioting is this widespread.
Atika, any estimates of the damage, the cost?
We don't have any, clear estimates right now. They're still totaling that up. I mean, clearly, you're going to see a lot of damage like this, smashed windows. I mean, actually, the grocery store behind me has had massive fire damage right up into the roof. So that's going to cost thousands and thousands of dollars right there. But, I mean, the human cost is tremendous. I mean, we're talking about communities that are now so damaged and mistrustful because they're saying, how could this happen to small independent stores like this? And it's going to take them a lot of time rebuild and a lot of time before they can rebuild that trust again, especially with the younger generation. There's a lot of healing that needs to be done here.
Atika Schubert reporting live from Ealing in West London. Now, early on Tuesday morning, there was another uprising. It was also in London, but take a look at this. It's a little different. These are the volunteers, brooms in hand, and this was an effort to take back and clean up their city. Mayor Boris Johnson got involved as well. It was started by writer-photographer Dan Thompson using Twitter and the hashtag #RiotCleanup. The Twitter sphere responded. Thousands of people said, we want to help. We're going to help the local shopkeepers get back into business, open up their stores. One young man did get into a heated exchange with the mayor, though. Watch this.
Don't you think it's about time? You've cut off so much blood supply to youths, right? Connections have stopped, yeah? The job that I'm working in now, I've only got this job up the road at Swinton Insurance, yeah? I only got that job because of connections. You cut off EMA, okay? You've cut off so much stuff, right? There's a knock-on effect to everything, and look what's happened, right? The youths are running around, okay, stealing, yeah? Now they're looting and all this stuff. There's a reason for everything, Boris, okay? And think about the amount of time you are cutting and cutting and cutting, and then you're putting off youth fees. Okay, I've got so much friends who actually want to go to university, but have stopped, okay? You are spending, okay, hundreds of millions of pounds a week, okay, in Libya, when you could be over here. Sort yourselves out over here first. You haven't finished. Libya, we can't stretch our hands when we can't reach it. I'm sure we'd all love to help in Libya. I'm sure we'd all love to give to people in all those countries who are suffering, but we can't afford it. So don't you think it's about time we actually started concentrating on here? Because it's about time.
Hackney, meantime, rioters hit the Hackney area of East London, and they hit it hard Monday. They looted, and then they set fires. Jeanette Arnold represents that part of the city in the London Assembly, and she's a member of the Metropolitan Police Authority. She joins me now to talk a little bit about some of the larger problems there as well as in other communities. How do you read this today? There's a lot, and Atika Schubert said it, there is apprehension hanging in the air.
Yes, good evening. There is, because we have never seen anything of this scale. You know, we've got problems sometimes in one borough, and the police can deal with that, maybe 2 or 3. But we have not seen this sort of damage across the city. I think our police association was saying you'd have to go back 100 years to see this sort of mayhem and this sort of disorder. But I would just like to say that the police, some of them who have been working 15, 20-hour days, they are to be applauded, and they are doing the very best. And the issue is that there will be a return of law and order on the streets in London. It's our city, and we will have the return of law and order.
Now, some have laid the blame for this on the thugs, and they say that they come largely from minority communities, from underprivileged communities within London. But those are the very communities, your communities, that have been the victims.
Look, you know, if you talk about Hackney, we have the most diverse community. So you go into Hackney and you find people from all races, from all traditions. And so it isn't just to do with one particular ethnic group. It is to do with, and I think that gentleman who was very upset in his interaction with the mayor because A, he wanted to know where his mayor had been, but he also was highlighting some of the underlying issues which we will get to. But our first priority, and that is why I welcome the fact that there will be 16,000 officers on the streets of London tonight, because we will have the return of law and order and community safety.
Jeanette, they can't be everywhere, and a lot of shop owners trying to shutter things right now, this hour.
Absolutely, and that's why now we're using that time, and so unfortunately it is going to impact on the local community, because people won't be able to go to their shops, they won't be able to get the food and the nappies and everything else that we need in life. But what we're saying is that let's protect the property, and also can I just finish and say what we are saying is we're saying to aunties, mothers, sisters, brothers, know where the youngsters are, and so if you haven't seen your brother or your sister, go and find them and bring them into the house. They should not be on the streets, because it is an issue. We have too many of our under 14, 15s on the street, and it's unfortunate. It's holiday, but we have to have them in their homes tonight.
Jeanette, I've asked this question of others, and I got to ask it of you very briefly. Do you think the situation's under control now?
It's challenging because it's unprecedented, but we'll see a difference tonight. But I think the difference, we have it in our hands, and our children must stay off the street so that the police can return law and order to our city. All
right. Jeanette Arnold in the City of London Assembly, I thank you very much for taking the time right now to come out and talk to the audience around the world that is looking on and has been, you know, really quite disturbed by what we've witnessed in London over the course of the past 72 hours or more. Thank you.
Thank you.